Coach Twan, why am I getting anxiety during my competitions? This is a question I'm getting asked all the time. So I have decided to make this a series because you can't answer all of anxiety questions in just like one video. That would be a million hour long video. So I'm going to break it up. But right now we're going to answer, why are you getting anxiety during your competitions? Simply, this is happening because athletes are not being trained on how to work on the mental aspect of their performance, right? You could probably count like how many times you ever been to a practice, how many times you trained, right? But how many of those times of those practices, you've probably done this like 1,000 times, but how many of those practices have you worked on mental performance? How have you worked on combining how to lower your anxiety, how to breathe, all these different things? This is why this is happening. This is why you're getting anxiety during your competitions.
Ready? Boy, 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 boy. I'll go around the other way. Yeah, nice. All right. Good. You know what we need to do is get some
This is like no shade to your coach, but to be honest, your coach does not know how to work on the mental aspect of your training. You're going to need a different type of coach. Like myself, I am a mental performance coach. So you're going to need someone like that to help bridge that gap of the things that coach just isn't teaching you. Like he's not trained in the mental part, he's trained in the physical part. He knows how to get the most out of you physically, right? But he does not know how to get the best out of you mentally. That takes one, a coach that is very, very mindful of how he utilizes his tools in his tool bags, right? Because a great coach would know that you can't just rah your way through any competition. You know, you get your team hyped up, yeah, let's go, and then they run through a wall. But sometimes you don't need an axe, right? You need a scalpel, and sometimes that requires you taking a step back to really find a tool that can really help you maneuver the challenge of navigating a competition, right? The stresses of a competition. Because competition in itself is just tough. It's like a war scenario, right? Like you have to really have a great mindset, be in a good mindset to perform at your best. And a lot of times, coaches is going, hey, coach, I got a lot of anxiety. Whoa, boy, you need to focus. All right, well, coach, I'm trying to focus, but I can't focus. Well, you go do your drills. Well, coach, I did my drills. I'm a master at my drills. I'm a master driller. I said, well, just you know, go sit down. You're on the bench. You know that is problematic because we're not really presenting this. We're not presenting the athlete with all of the tools out there. There's a whole nother like realm of like just stuff that you could do to kind of help. Like I indicated earlier, breathing exercises. You know, just taking a deep breath, or even training yourself how to breathe, learning how to control your breath, learning how to lower your heart rate. And even my favorite thing that I've kind of discovered lately is how we even think about anxiety, like how beneficial it is to us. Like society and media and everything like that, in order to sell drugs, they tell you that anxiety is something that is problematic and something you need to control, this, that, and the other. But that's not necessarily true. So let's take a sport like track and field. When we're talking about anxiety, the greatest thing about anxiety is that it prepares you for flight or flight, right? Depending on who you are and your experiences, like that's a whole nother conversation. We'll probably get into that in another anxiety video. But there's a couple of things that are going to happen. You're going to fight, freeze, or fold. And depend on who you are, that anxiety can be extremely useful. And in athletes in particular, they're resilient. Athletes are very resilient bunch. So more than likely they're going to fight, right? They're going to fight. So when your body ramps up for that stress reaction, right? Your palms get sweaty, your eyes dilate, your lungs fill up with oxygen, your blood starts pumping more oxygen to your extremities. It gets directed away from your digestive system. This is why most people like throw up or their stomachs start to hurt and all these different things went right before the race. Like, this is why this happens. But all the things happen. But if you think about that, like, if all your resources in your body is going to your extremities now, going to your legs, to your hands, your pupils start to dilate, and the prefrontal cortex of your brain just shuts off, right? That in itself, you can already understand it. That's very, very beneficial, right? So in track, we have something like we usually call like free energy. So your first 30 meters, like, since your adrenaline is already up, that's like your body's nitrous oxide, right? Like, that's all go-go juice. So that first 30 meters, when that gun go off, that's all anxiety, all adrenaline. You just boom, boom, boom. And you just use that energy. You got to use it up because it's free, right? It's there. And that will propel you to be faster than you could ever imagine. But the key is that you got to understand what's going on. You got to understand that. You got to understand that when you're at the line and your hands start shaking, you have to mentally turn what you think about anxiety into something positive, because many athletes go like, oh my gosh, I got anxiety. They start freaking out. Start snowballing, right? They start catastrophizing and turn into this big thing, and then they end up shutting down, and that ruins your performance because right now society have you thinking that anxiety is this big bad wolf that you need to fear, when it's really not. It's really something very, very beneficial, and how you think about anxiety determines how you're going to perform in your race or your competition.